How much money will it take to make Donald Trump stop? Because he won't stop defaming E. Jean Carroll. These were the powerful words of E. Jean Carroll's lawyer, Sean Crowley, during opening statements at trial, which started on Tuesday. And as we predicted here at the Midas Touch Network, Donald Trump's statements following the other E. Jean Carroll trial, where Donald Trump was found liable for sexual abuse and defamation, all of those other statements after that trial have now come back to haunt Donald Trump, and rightfully so. All of those statements have come to backfire as we predicted here on the Midas Touch Network, and rightfully so. When Donald Trump did that so-called CNN town hall, the day after a jury found Donald Trump liable for sexual abuse and defamation back in May of 2023, as we said, that was going to be evidence at the upcoming E. Jean Carroll trial, and indeed it was. E. Jean Carroll's lawyer talked about how just one day after that verdict where a jury found Donald Trump was liable for sexual abuse and defamation, Donald Trump went on CNN and did this. Play the tape.
Usually you leave office, you say, I'm sorry, but I'm going to back home. I'm back home to my family and everything. I'm going to be resigning. My poll numbers went up, and they went up with the other fake charge, too. Because what's happening is they're doing this for election interference. This woman, I don't know her. I never met her. I have no idea who she is. I had a picture taken years ago with her and her husband, nice guy, John Johnson. He was a newscaster, a very nice man. She called him an ape. Happens to be African-American. Called him an ape. The judge wouldn't allow us to put that in. Her dog, or her cat, was named Vagina. The judge wasn't allowed to put that in. All of these things, but with her, they can put in anything. Access, Hollywood.
This was a jury of 9 people who found you liable of sexual abuse. Do you think that will deter women from voting for you?
No, I don't think so, because I think the whole thing, just so you understand, ready? I never met this woman. I never saw this woman. This woman said, I met her at the front door of Bergdorf Goodman, which I rarely go into other than for a couple of charities. I met her in the front door. She was about 60 years old, and this is like 22, 23 years ago. I met her in the front door of Bergdorf Goodman. I was immediately attracted to her, and she was immediately attracted to me. And we had this great chemistry. We're walking into a crowded department store. We had this great chemistry, and a few minutes later, we end up in a room, a dressing room of Bergdorf Goodman, right near the cash register. And then she found out there were locks on the door. So she said, I found one that was open. She found one. She learned this at trial. She found one that was open. What kind of a woman meets somebody and brings them up, and within minutes, you're playing hanky-panky in a dressing room, okay? I don't know if she was married then or not. John Johnson, I feel sorry for you, John Johnson.
Mr. President, can I?
What is it going to take to get Donald Trump to stop that behavior? Because even leading up to this trial, Donald Trump has continued to make these statements. Take a look at what Donald Trump said in Newton, Iowa about E. Jean Carroll just last week. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, play the clip.
It doesn't look good. You have a jury. If I don't go there, they're there. If you don't go, I sort of felt I should be there. He said, sir, you shouldn't be there. This trial is bullshit. He used that term. He said, you should not be there, sir. This is beneath you. That's the term he used, beneath. So I didn't go there, and they found me not guilty of the one charge, the big charge, but guilty of stuff. I never met this, I never saw this woman, except 25 years ago, there's a picture of her and her husband, who was a nice guy. He was a newscaster. He was an African-American, and she called him an ape in her book. And the judge, who's radical left, and a Clinton judge, radical left, said you're not allowed to use that in the trial. And other things. They had a dress like Monica Lewinsky. They said, we have a dress. So I said, all right, use it. It's sort of gross, right? Use it. Because I didn't do anything. I never saw this woman, other than they have a picture standing on a reception line where it's a celebrity. I'm shaking hands or something with hundreds and hundreds of people. That's the only picture they have. They said, so the dress. So I said, you know, use it. Something never happened. And you say, we have to go through this. I said, use the dress. And the judge wouldn't allow it. It turned out there was nothing in the dress. The judge wouldn't allow it because he knew that there was nothing on the dress. Because the judge is a radical Democrat in New York. And so you go through it.
And ladies and gentlemen of the jury, here is what Donald Trump said when he was in New York City last week following the closing arguments in the New York Attorney General civil fraud case. Donald Trump keeps on making these statements about E. Jean Carroll. Play the video.
Tuesday, are you going to be back in court for the E. Jean Carroll case on Wednesday?
Yeah, well, that's another one. That's sponsored by Reid Hoffman and some Democrat operatives. I never saw this woman in my life other than to have a picture with her and her husband, John Johnson, a nice guy who was a newscaster many years ago. I remember him, and she said horrible things about him since. I mean, horrible, horrible things, called him bad names. I have no idea who this woman is. I have absolutely no idea. The whole thing is ridiculous that this is even a case. This should never have happened. But again, this is sponsored by the Democrats. That's another case, all sponsored by, it's a demeaning kind of a thing, and that's what they want to do. It's called election interference. And yeah, I'm going to go to it, and I'm going to explain. I don't know who the hell she is. I have no idea. They called me up years ago, and they said, do you know about this woman 25 or 30 years ago? She doesn't even know the date, the time, the month, the season. She has no idea. And if you read and if you watch, take a look at the Anderson Cooper interview of her. And if you take a look at that, Trump is so innocent, but we have been given a very unfair trial there, too. I don't get very fair trials in New York.
In fact, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, and this is what E. Jean Carroll's lawyer, Sean Crowley, told the jury, today, Donald Trump posted 22 times today while he was sitting there defaming E. Jean Carroll. Here we could show some of these posts about E. Jean Carroll that Donald Trump was making. There were no phones allowed in court, so Donald Trump had somebody else making the post, or he set a timer for these posts to take place while he was sitting there in court. Probably a Dan Scavino posted, but anyway, they were being posted over and over again. 22 posts. This is what E. Jean Carroll's lawyer said. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, he posted 22 times today. And as he runs for president, he continues to defame her. You're going to be asked to decide how much money he should have to pay to ensure that he never defames her again. It's time to hold Donald Trump accountable. It's time to make Donald Trump pay dearly. And all of those receipts, all of those videos are now evidence in this E. Jean Carroll trial for punitive damages to show that Donald Trump won't stop. So there has to be a remedy to get Donald Trump to once and for all stop this behavior. Now, what was Alina Habba's opening statement? What did Donald Trump's lawyer argue? Well, she first tried to violate the court's order precluding her from saying that E. Jean Carroll was not telling the truth. And Roberta Kaplan and Sean Crowley, E. Jean Carroll's lawyer, stood up right away and objected. And the judge admonished Alina Habba not to go in that direction because Donald Trump has already been found liable by a jury in May for sexual abuse and for defamation. So Alina Habba can't argue that what the jury did was wrong. The jury has made its ruling. So what did Alina Habba say? Alina Habba says that this is what E. Jean Carroll wanted. This is her dream, is what Alina Habba was saying, that she wanted to be famous and Donald Trump helped make her famous by defaming her, is what Alina Habba argued. She, quote, she craved fame and has long before Trump craved fame. And so Donald Trump helped give her that fame. I mean, how disgusting can you be that this is an argument that was actually being made by Alina Habba? That basically saying that this is what E. Jean Carroll wanted, this is what E. Jean Carroll sought out, and this has actually helped E. Jean Carroll's life, was the thrust of what Alina Habba's disgusting and despicable argument was. She was enjoying the intention, Alina Habba said. She enjoyed it. She wanted it. She's gone on podcasts to talk about it. She spread the message. She's monetizing her brand. This has become her brand now, is what Alina Habba says. So despicable. This is what she craved, this type of fame. Horrible stuff. And Alina Habba said that it's no secret that if you speak about Donald Trump like this, you will elicit reactions like this. And Alina Habba says, in fact, if you make explosive allegations against any sitting president, this is what you would expect. Huh? In what world, Alina Habba, is this what you would expect? No, this is what MAGA thinks we do, but not how President Biden acts. This isn't how President Obama acts. This isn't how George H.W. Bush acts. It's not how leaders act. Tormenting someone who you're found liable for sexually abusing? This is horrific, horrific stuff, people. And of course, Donald Trump then went on his social media to whine and complain and to continue on with the wah, wah, wah. That's what it sounds like to me. He goes, I should be in New Hampshire campaigning and fighting. You went to New Hampshire. You weren't even there for the opening statements. He goes, I should be in New Hampshire campaigning and fighting for our country. Fighting for our country? By going up there and spreading lies and destroying our country? He goes, and I'll be there later today, but for now I had to spend the time in a federal courthouse with a Trump-hating radical left judge on a case that's another politically biased witch hunt. It's just stop the whining. Stop the whining. And folks, here's a good data point that I want to share with you right now. I just think Americans are sick and tired of MAGA in all of its forms. So we've talked about how when you actually break down the Iowa voting data itself, it was like only 14% of Republicans actually voted for Donald Trump. It's like the lowest voter turnout like almost ever in Iowa amongst Republicans. But just take a look at this. Florida voters are rejecting Ron DeSantis's MAGA agenda and just flipped a red House seat blue in Florida. You had Tom Keene beat Erica Booth. Because I just think Americans are sick and tired of this MAGA nonsense. I think we look at what Trump's saying and Alina Habba, and it's just like, that ain't conservative. That's just a bunch of evil, unhinged stuff, dangerous stuff. It's all right. We're gonna make sure our democracy is protected. We're gonna make sure that facts matter. We're gonna make sure that we protect, defend our Constitution. Together, we the people are going to do that against this MAGA nonsense. I'm Ben Meiselas from the Midas Touch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2 million subscribers thanks to your support. Have a great day.
Feel any better? I have already put evac on alert. He's ready to go if it comes to that. General, I can assure you.
Hey, General, let me into the war room to see you, so I had to hack my way onto this frequency.
This better be critical, Wheelie.
Sir, come on, what is it now, please? Okay, couple of things. I'm running low on the dough. I was thinking about taking a couple of months sick leave, maybe starting today. And, oh yeah, I intercepted a transmission from Megatron.
Then send it through.
Yes, sir, right away, sir. And so I was so damn good on me, let us know.
This is your last warning, insects. Relinquish what remains of the Allspark.
So who's the insect? You? What? Who's the insect?
Protect you. They were defeated on our world, and we will defeat them here.
This was just a diversion. Security, please bring up. Rabbit, she's already inside. Deeds! Give me an update on that reserve. Boss readiness. What was his name? What was it?
Evac, sir.
Evac.
She's right in front.
We are facing a heavy, sustained attack. They appear to be after the All-Star craft. General, watch out! General! You need to immediately evacuate. Hold on. National security advisory. Stay down. Check it out. There is a separation. The amateurs are suicide mission.